It's tour time. Calling from Virginia Beach.
I thought you said twerk time, but not tour.
I said tour time.
I said it's twerk time from Virginia Beach. I was like, what?
It's tour time.
See, that sounds like twerk. When you say tour, it sounds like twerk.
Cause y'all in Atlanta, that's the first thing y'all hear.
No, it just sounds like twerk time. It's twerk time from Virginia Beach. I was like, oh shit.
I'm like, she's cranking up early.
Yeah, 10 a.m. twerking.
It's touring. It's touring.
Touring.
How about that? It's touring. My tagline is tour time, so that's why I said it. It's touring time. I'm out with Legacy and Marsha Ambrosius.
Hey, she was just here in Atlanta for Jazz Fest. Everybody said it was dope. I didn't go, but I heard good things about her for sure.
We'll be in Stockbridge at the end of the month. Stockbridge and Savannah at the end of the month.
Stockbridge right down the road. Stockbridge right down the road.
I'll let y'all know.
Please do. Going on, everybody? Let's just joined in. See y'all. Skill, what up, home? Get up here, man. Hey, Alita's here. Let me get Alita up here. Alita is very, very smart. I would love to have her on stage today. What's up, Alita?
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, y'all? 2 more minutes and we're going to get started, y'all. 10:05. 10:05, we're going to get started. It's almost time. It's going to be a great day today.
It's June 2nd.
It's June 2nd. Y'all change them batteries in y'all smoke detectors and change your air filters and go through your refrigerator, throw out all that old stuff. Do that, man. Get your shit together.
Yeah, man.
Throw out that old toothbrush you had since December.
Right.
Cool, man. Go ahead. Be better.
I actually gonna order some new my Oral-B little automatic toothbrush here. I said, let me get a couple of new packs of them. I change the bad boy like once a month. You know what I'm saying? Just get that. Throw it out.
Man, I actually had a bunch of toothbrushes around the house, and then my daughter did a sleepover, and then all the kids came over and was like, I don't have a toothbrush. So I gave them to the kids. Then my other daughter came home from college, and she like, yeah, I need a new toothbrush. I'm like, okay. And now I had to go buy new toothbrushes yesterday. I'm like, good grief. From 6 to 9.
They'll have to learn the hack. When you run out of stuff, go to Amazon and just get it sent to your house. Save you time.
See?
That's what I do. That's what, man, please.
I'm a store guy. I like to go to the store.
Oh, no, that's too much. That's too much time. That's wasting too much time.
No, I love that. I enjoy a good Publix run.
I'm in the time phase now. Things that save me time, I'll spend for it. Grocery shopping, I'm mad. I really wish they would bring back. I saw one that launched, I think in North or South Carolina, gas delivery service.
Oh, yeah, it's like a black woman, right? Then she's like,
yeah. And I wish I was so used to get gas delivery here in Atlanta before the pandemic, and they never bounced back from it. I didn't go to the gas station for over a year. I say it all the time. It was the best thing ever. I didn't even know what going to the gas station was. They come to you, fill your trunk up, fill your tank up, and pull off, dog. And it was the best thing ever.
That's crazy. I like being outside now. I enjoy going to the grocery store. I enjoy all of that. I go to the bank. I go to the bank, stand in line, do the whole thing. I love that. I like being social. Nothing like going to the bank and they be like, hey, Mr. Love. I love that. I get a real kick out of that. All right, it's 10:06 actually. Let's get things started. Welcome everybody to the Monday Morning Marketing Meeting. I'm your host, Nick Love. Like me, love me, follow me right here on Fanbase. We do this call every single Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this app. Shouts out to Isaac, who was on the call. And Isaac, I need to make you an administrator, admin while I'm thinking about it, because we don't have Gary today. That being said,
oh, you gave me the gold crown.
Oh, hold on. You the man today. First of all, let me shout out to everybody. Like we've been May was weird for us because of the holidays and me moving around and working a lot of stuff. So we didn't do our call as normal as we do, but we're back. I don't see anything coming up anytime soon. So I think we should be on a nice little run for at least another 15, 18 weeks or so before we have to we should make it all the way to Labor Day, actually, before we have to stop again. So shouts out to y'all. So, I mean, if you can, please share the room, let people know. Matter of fact, let me skip to that part. If you can, go to the bottom right hand side of your screen. I'm a little rusty because we haven't done this in a while. Go to the bottom right hand side of your screen, and there's an arrow down there. Hit that. Share the room. Let people know that we are in here and that we're about to get started. I don't have to do this call by myself. I'm joined by some of my smart, amazing, beautiful, funny, creative, hilarious friends who are up on this stage. So shouts out to them. See, we got, of course, Isaac is up here, Noel, Jermaine, Alita is here. She's new to the team. So shouts out to Alita. See my man Jeff Sledge over here. And let me see, where's Dean? Dean was here for a second. And we don't want to get Dean back. And a few of our other people will be joining us shortly. Before we get into today's call, Isaac, any updates on Fanbase we need to know about?
We're just moving through our backlog, and I'm looking to close the raise this week, but from some other parties that we've been talking to for a while. So hopefully this raise will be closed in the next 7 days.
Nice.
And we'll be off on some new stuff.
I love it. I love it. Okay, congrats and shouts out to that. Today's call, I want to jump into it real quick. We had this conversation briefly, at the beginning of one of our calls, maybe some months back. But we didn't go into a full-fledged combo about it. And it came up again over the weekend for me. And I kind of wanted to revisit this whole thing. So a few months back, I went up, really a little over a month. I went to Detroit for a funeral. My aunt passed. And I went up there, and while I was there, I had an opportunity to go over to the Motown Museum for the first time. I had never been there. And I'm telling my cousins, I'm at the hotel, but my cousins, of course, they all live up there. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to take me and my brother and my daughter, we finna all go to the Motown Museum. And my cousin says, oh, snap, should have went with y'all. I've never been. She lived in Detroit all her life, and she's never gone. And we laughed about it. Then later on, we got together, we had a conversation, and I was like, well, to be fair, I live in Atlanta. It's a lot of places in Atlanta I've never been to. I still to this day have never been inside the MLK house over off of Auburn Avenue. Never been inside, even from a kid. And they used to run MLK stuff every single year on TV. It was a big, big thing, but I'm one of the few people born and raised in Atlanta that's never been. We just kind of got to talking. I got a couple homeboys from New York. Jeff is on the call. He might can speak to this, but I know a bunch of New Yorkers who have never been to the Statue of Liberty. I know a bunch of people from Miami that have never been to South Beach. They just don't go. They don't go across the bridge. And it got me to thinking about, how do you market local attractions? How do you market the stuff that's in a city to the people who live there, the people who feel like I'll get there one day, the people who are like, that's just a thing that the tourists go to. But that money that comes in from out of town, that's great. But if you can get the locals to frequent or at least pop in, come on, we're talking about added revenue. You're talking about, added talk, added, just kind of, that good local PR that you have around some things that keep some stuff sustained. And I want to talk to y'all today, how do we do that? How does a city achieve that? How do you get New Yorkers who are born and bred to get over to the Statue of Liberty with some level of urgency? If you were trying to get New Yorkers to go to the Statue of Liberty in the next 30 days, 60 days, what would you do? If you were trying to get Atlantans to go to Underground or, over to MLK House or, any of the Stone Mountain, any of our other, tourist attractions that have never been, how do you get them there? And how do you attract them with that same energy and that same fervor that tourists from out of town come to. My people that's on the stage, because I know Dean is like originally from Philly. Jeff, I know you're not from Atlanta. Jermaine, I actually don't know where exactly you're from. Alita, same thing. But where are y'all from? And then what's the thing in your city that you've never been to?
I've been to everything in Philly, and I've been to everything in Atlanta.
You've done the Liberty Bell and all that mess?
Yeah, because in Philly, I started Philly and come to Atlanta. In Philly, I know a lot of us have children here. And I want to start with like school systems. I'm not to go too deep, but like kids don't take field trips now the way we used to when I was in elementary school. So when I was in elementary school, our field trips, like in Philly, was, oh, we're going to City Hall of Philadelphia, and on the rooftop of City Hall is a statue of William Penn, right? And you can go all the way up there and they teach you about the history of William Penn. And then you take a field trip to see the Liberty Bell, and you take a field trip to the art museum, and you take a field trip to see the Rocky statue and all that kind of stuff. Field trip to see the Sixers. Those are our field trips in the Philadelphia Zoo. And then when I came to Atlanta in 1995, I was at Bunch Middle School. We took field trips. I'll never forget it. We took field trips to the Martin Luther King Memorial and different things, and like in 7th and 8th grade, Woodland Middle School. So then I have children that's in middle school now, and truthfully, from their and they go to a really great school, but from their elementary age to their middle school age now, they took some field trips, but they didn't take a lot, especially things that go out into the city and say, oh, we're going to go visit the Martin Luther King Memorial. We're going to go visit the Woodruff Art Center. We're going to go visit the Atlanta Zoo. So those kind of things I've literally had to do with my children on my own, taking them to the zoo, taking them to Woodruff Art Center, taking them to King Memorial, or the Georgia Aquarium, or whatever those things are. So I think a lot of times there's an education pipeline that goes into learning about your city as well.
My freshman year at Georgia State, they did a lot of field trips as well, specifically to enrich you with the culture of Atlanta. So we did a lot of stuff that included the local history to kind of get you ingratiated into what the city is about and what the culture of the city was about. So we did a lot of trips my freshman year of college at State.
For me, it was when I was young. It was relatives coming. My parents were from the South, so it was relatives coming in and saying, "I want to see, the Statue of Liberty. I want to see the Empire State Building." So we would go with to take them down to see things in the city. And then as I got older, I'm just kind of a naturally curious person, so I would be somewhere and I'm like, shit, I want to go to the Met Museum. I want to go to the Guggenheim or whatever that kind of tourist attraction was. So just like Dean, I've pretty much done all the tourist stuff in New York. Pretty much all the tourist stuff in New York there is to do, but it's a trip because you see, as a New Yorker, you see you meet like a lot of people who have never done anything. Matter of fact, they play it like it's corny. Like, man, I ain't going no fucking Statue of Liberty. That's just corny. It's like, bro, no, it's actually kind of fly. It's kind of like I don't know. It's a weird in New York. It's kind of a weird, like I said, a corny factor if you want to do like the tourist stuff in the city. Like, I don't go to Times Square. It's like, why not? Just pop through there. You got to go every day, but like it's there and popular for a reason. It's worth going to see. It's a trip. New York is it's got a weird approach to that.
Yeah, y'all funny with that Times Square thing. Like New Yorkers be like Times Square, like that. Y'all shun that. But to be fair, in Atlanta, that's how we treat underground. We like, why in the world would we at underground Atlanta?
Yeah, Times Square is trash. But when I worked at Atlantic, it's literally 5 blocks from there. So like I would just kind of have to walk through there every day. So we're seeing it every day. It's definitely trash, but I can see how the appeal in it to somebody who's not from New York, because it's they got the tickets stairs and all those advertising screens and stuff. So it's I get why it's popular, but yeah, to a native New Yorker, like once is enough.
Then you got to factor the cost. Like it's going to cost you way more to come into the city to do things that you could do locally.
But that being said, tourists spend the money to come to your thing, right? You have your thing, whatever it is from your city, right down the street. Tourists are flying in, driving in, and doing whatever they got to do. Hell, people from out of the country, like Centennial Park. I'll give you a perfect example in Atlanta. Centennial Park, where they had the Olympics. There are people who fly in to this day from out of the country to come to Centennial Park. That Atlantans are like, what are we doing? And I guess my question becomes, from a marketing standpoint, right? Like, I thought 404 Day would have been the perfect day, because I had this idea back in April. 404 Day here in Atlanta would have been the perfect day for the aquarium, the zoo, Six Flags, whatever, to say, all right, if you have an Atlanta, Georgia driver's license, or if you can, some kind of cool, like if you can prove you from the city, today is free. Come here today. All the locals are invited to our local thing, whatever that might be. That's the ride the Ferris wheel downtown, come to the park, go to the zoo, whatever. But like, how do you get New Yorkers to Times Square? How do you get people in St. Louis to go to the Arch? How do you get people in Miami to come to the beach?
But it's exactly what you're saying, Nick. You have to incentivize it for the locals. That's the thing. Like, the money in marketing right now is being put out for tourists. And I mean, Atlanta itself is a super tourist state, right? But even if you go to the DMV, Chicago, all these other cities we're talking about, they're incentivizing for tourists. When you come through the airport, it's all this stuff being sent out. I think if they actually put some, we'll call it grassroots marketing, behind what they were doing for locals, incentivized it, how you're saying, show us your ID. As opposed to paying $30 to get in, you can pay $5. Because the other thing you're hitting on, and I think a lot of people are going to miss, is the family aspect. And I'm not going to pay $30 for me, my husband, and then $20 for 4 kids, 3 kids, however many kids to get in. That's a lot of money, and we haven't even eaten yet. We haven't even gone to do something else. I think the other component that you were talking about is, yeah, we pass it every day. I'm guilty of that. Been here since 2016. I'm like, I'll go eventually. It's over there. It's not going anywhere. And so I think, one, we really don't know what's going on inside a lot of these places. Like, the aquarium has events. You don't know that unless you drive by and you're asking yourself, why are people dressed up? A lot of these other places, we just see them, the building's there, nothing's being told to us. So we're just like, okay, it's cool. Whereas online, which is a big aspect with influencers and whatnot, they're not talking about those spaces. Again, they're talking about going to eat, they're talking about the concerts. So I think what both sides have to look at is, from a marketing standpoint, how are things being marketed now? From the local entity standpoint, who are they trying to reach? Transportation could be an issue. For some of these communities, they're on limited public transportation. That becomes annoying. That becomes a burden, especially here in Atlanta. If there are 5 major things going on in the city, all of us are challenged with getting around. So I think you really have to understand the demographic, who you're trying to pull in, the days that would make sense to incentivize for them, and then go from there.
I think
I'll add to
hit on something really interesting when you just said about the influencers, because again, I'm talking about New York, for example, but it's weird because most of the influencers in New York are not from New York, right? So they're not going to point to like those kind of touristy things, because they don't have any pride in the city. They're just kind of pointing to the things that they think the hip people want to do. And skipping over kind of the tourist thing. So I think it is a pride, a marketing kind of almost like a city pride thing, because what happens is, and this happened to me as well, when you do go to these places and you meet somebody, you kind of bump into somebody from out of town just because you're maybe on an elevator together, whatever, and then they start say I go to the top of the Empire State Building and somebody starts asking me, so what's that? Like, there's a sense of pride for me saying, no, that's Brooklyn, no, that's the Brooklyn Bridge, or that's Harlem, or that's the George Washington Bridge, or
and that's why locals, they
Yeah.
should be working with actual locals to
Yes.
make you guys the influencer of that space. Because
Exactly.
you're going to tell me historically about something that I would be like, oh, I never knew that. Even here, most people don't know Pond City Market used to be a Sears factory, or these other places used to be pre-existing things. And you speak to people and they start to give you a history that you start to ask questions about other places around.
Agreed 100%. A quick story, and then I'll jump off so I can get in. Years ago, I was flying from DC back to New York for whatever reason. I was going back home, and there was a couple sitting next to me I was on the window seat, and the couple was in the next 2 seats over. They were Italian. I think they had just maybe come over to visit. The man didn't speak English at all, and the woman spoke English very slightly. But we're flying in. I don't know if you ever flown in from DC to New York, but it was in the evening, so you could see everything. So the lady started asking me, like, she said basically, we're not from here. Could you please point out some stuff? And I was like, sure. So I pointed out the Statue of Liberty, and I pointed out the Empire State Building. And at the time, the World Trade Center was still up and stuff like that. And it was, they were like super excited because I was pointed out, and they were like, oh my God, we couldn't imagine seeing this stuff. And for me, it was kind of a prideful thing. Like, wow, these people are really geeked to see this, like such a Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building or these landmarks that we take for granted. So I think it's about marketing pride to the locals, like Alita said, and to getting them to get involved, because the influencers are just going to do whoever pays them. They're not going to have any pride in what's really going on.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something about that Statue of Liberty. So I just saw it for the first time last year. I took the family up to New York. And just like in July, because my daughter was going to school at Howard. And so I'm like, all right, let's do a trip. So we went to New York. And that was we got on the little boat, went out to Statue of Liberty, and no bullshit. I didn't get like a patriotic thing that kind of rushed over me, but it was kind of like, oh shit, like even like the little kid in me was like, oh my God, that's the Statue of Liberty. Like it's pretty, like it was nighttime, it was lit up, it was like, damn, like that's the statue. I've seen this in books, I've seen it on TV, but I've never seen it in person. And it was a thing. And I was like, wow. And it's so funny when I hear New Yorkers say, I ain't never been. It's like, damn, it's like right there for y'all. But then I also think about like, who hates the Las Vegas Strip? People from Las Vegas.
People from Las Vegas.
they hate that shit. They like, oh my God. Like you tell them to come, I got a homegirl I grew up with. She's from Las Vegas. And then, I go out of there. I'm like, yo, I'm in the city. She's like, have fun. Like she has zero interest.
Nick, to your point about like the Statue of Liberty, something like that, because I've still never been. That's something I always on my bucket list I want to do. But moving to Atlanta, like I said, when I moved here, I moved to the South Side, right? And what I've learned over my time here, and I'm sure you know this, Atlanta is very segregated when people are committed to their sides of town, right? Where I got real friends and now people I consider family from the South Side that they probably didn't make it to Lenox Mall until damn near an adult or closer to adulthood. Everything was South Side. Everything was Union City, Old National, Shannon Mall, all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Until then the resources started shutting down, when the Shannon Mall started shutting down and all those kind of things, then it kind of forces you to come into the city, right? The Greenbrier Malls doesn't have the same things that it had back in the 90s from a resource standpoint. So it kind of forced people to come into the city and say, yo, I gotta go to Lenox. I gotta, get my sneakers from over there, my clothes from over there. But for a long time, it was on the South Side, bro, that never went to Buckhead. They never went to Buckhead ever. Like not to the mall, not to the parties, nothing. Right. And there's a lot of places. You got people in Brooklyn that never been to Queens ever in their life.
You want to hear a funny story real quick?
Yeah.
I came from the Yin Yang Twins to Buckhead. We ate an F2 on Buckhead and by Atlanta. He said, this is the first time I ever been up here. I'm like,
that's nuts.
Y'all are international rap stars from Atlanta, Georgia, and you never been to Lenox.
Bro,
you've never been 10 minutes up the road. Like, but Dean hit it on the head. Atlanta is like that. Like,
he's like, I don't go past university.
Think about that, bro.
Yeah, I'm from Decatur. Like, there's no reason for me to be on Old National.
Like Isaac said, somebody with money and fame and resources. But that's a mindset thing. That's not, I don't have the money to get in my car and go there.
I think it's more comfortability. Also, like, what's the point? Sometimes it's like, you're comfortable in all the things that you already kind of have in your areas. And there's like, when we go back to like Atlanta and all these different cities, there's no innovation involved in any of these landmarks really too. It's like this stuff has been the same since like those middle school trips. Like most of them have zero innovation. I know Atlanta is supposed to be bringing a new, they brought a few different things, and they're supposed to be bringing that what's the Spears like they have in Vegas. So they're trying to bring new attractions. I think the new attractions are things that people probably gonna go see, because like I only go see things when I have family members in town, and then like if they want to go see these things, but then like Lita said too, like I'm out of $200-300 to take 2 or 3 people to like 2 or 3 places, and all they leave with is like a little pamphlet and maybe a few other things that they already knew from history.
Well, but there you go. So that leads me to my original point, though. Okay, if you're the city of Atlanta, if you're the city of Las Vegas, if you're the city of New York, if you're whoever, LA, St. Louis, Chicago, whatever it is, what do you do outside of changing the price? Because I mean, I think we've kind of, we threw that idea out there. But what else can you do to market your way out of that local mindset, or even, I mean, I think Jeff kind of hit on it, like instilling that local pride, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's cool when you meet somebody who's a native of a city and they can say, yo, like this used to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do?
So Alita touched on it earlier. Honestly, I would use influencers. I would actually use influencers to actually do that, because there's this girl. I can't remember. Can't remember what her name is, but she's in Atlanta. But all she does is go to restaurants. Like, but her reviews are stellar, and they're really informative, and they're dope, and they're funny. And so I would use influencers to just. I mean, imagine a lot of the top content creators, influencers doing campaigns with the zoo, or doing a campaign with Stone Mountain, or doing a campaign, what I'm saying, with certain places that you want people to go see, the Ferris wheel and stuff like that. I think that's really powerful, because that's the new marketing that we use today, is to get people to really move and go places and do things, is utilize those people. And especially you use young ones. You use those teenage content creators are like, yo, this is such and such. I'm out here, whatever. And we kicking it at the zoo today, and put together a great piece of content, because that reach is going to be impactful. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think to your point, and to bring it back to what Jeff was saying, and to bring it back to the local aspect, when I mentioned influencers, I should have broke it down a little further. We need to use the influencer approach with local people that are known from these spaces, because that pride that they're talking about, that's what people are going to speak to give it to you differently. And I think you have to have a multi-tiered approach, because you're going to need somebody in that 40 to 50 age group. You're going to need somebody in that 25 to 35 age group. And you're going to need teens, because when you're marketing to locals and families and whatever, all these different age groups are coming from different spaces. Somebody mentioned schools earlier. Big market in field trips and after school programs and all that is definitely being missed. Funding is not being placed there, understood. But then when you get to the next age group of people, especially these college kids, that's a big group of people who they're going to parties. They're not really thinking about anything else. And then you have people with the families, who are the people mid 30s to 50, who are taking their families out. If we had somebody like Nick, and his family had an agreement with the city of Atlanta where they were literally sending his family around the city, people already know Nick. We follow Nick. If Nick say it was cool, we probably going to start having more people go over there. So if you had those type of people in each city, and let's not even say one, let's just say they pick 3 or 4, and really use that city to city, people who already are present, and not all from the same background. Maybe somebody that's in politics or education, maybe somebody that's in entertainment and lifestyle, and then maybe somebody that's like a business owner. So that way they feel like they're getting feedback from all these different types of people.
Let me comment on something. So in Atlanta, we have the Chamber of Commerce. There's a Chamber of Commerce in every city. So I'm not saying nothing special. But the Chamber of Commerce in Atlanta created something called Choose ATL back like 2015, 2016, whatever. And I partnered with them to do marketing for them, to bring attention and awareness to Choose ATL, and how they were trying to amplify their messaging and trying to tell people from Atlanta, as well as those visiting Atlanta or transplants that moved here, to say, hey, Atlanta has things to offer, right, outside of its music scene, outside of its hip hop scene. What I told them was, Atlanta does have things to offer outside of its music scene, but it is the music scene that is the driving force that brings attention and awareness to all of those other things. So we partner with them at the emerging part of One Music Fest, in the drive traffic there, in the Hawks, and the Falcons, in the aquarium, in the zoo, and different things like that, right? And this was the beginning, of quote unquote what influencer marketing was, right? And we did tap in with local influencers in Atlanta to drive traffic and awareness and create a content for them and all types of things. A lot of people have to understand what their local government is doing, what their local chamber of commerce is doing, and lean into build relationships with those individuals to make things like this happen, right? Last year, I consulted for the city of Atlanta, where I invited 50 influencers in different spaces into City Hall to talk to the mayor, to talk to the city council about what Atlanta needed, what they wanted, presented them with plaques, all types of stuff. You have to get rooted in city government and local government to do things like this in a big way. And a lot of people just in these communities, especially Black communities, just don't do it. They don't understand it. They don't think it's cool. So you got to make politics cool, right? You have to make politics cool in city government to move the needle. You have to.
So
especially when we pay
hold tight.
taxes,
You
our
know,
tax dollars.
we at the midpoint of the call. I want to start bringing people up from the audience. So if you want to jump up, I know I don't have my guy Gary here with me today, but it's all good. Raise your hand if you want to come up to the join the conversation, add to the conversation, ask a question, whatever you want to do, and I'm gonna start pulling people up, randomly. But who was that? Askia that was talking?
No, that was me.
Okay.
What was interesting about the Atlanta thing, I'll just talk real briefly, is everything you guys are saying is 1,000% on point. What I find interesting is they kind of have the first step started with the airport. Like when you come into the airport, you see the welcome to Atlanta, and you see the people from Atlanta like on the as you're coming up the escalator. It's kind of like they have somebody had the idea to kind of show Atlanta and all these different phases and the different people who live here and are from here, but then they don't seem to keep it going. Like they got people's attention from that screen, and that's a big deal to get on that screen, but it doesn't translate past the airport. So it's kind of like they got the first step started, but they just need to do steps, B through Z to kind of keep that going. Real quick to what I think Alita was saying earlier. I know I was talking to people about the Met Ball this year, because obviously the really Black Met Ball was great, and I was telling people, a lot of people in New York again don't know this either, but there's an exhibition after the Met Ball. All the clothes, you can go to the Met Museum like the next day and see all of it. And as a New Yorker, if you have a New York driver's license, you could literally walk in either for free or pay. You could pay. You make your own price. Like it's like, oh, here's $1, and I'll say, fine, we'll take it or whatever. So there's stuff like that going on, and stuff like that needs to be going on in different cities to kind of incentivize people to kind of see the touristy things, like you were saying before, Nick, and the things that people kind of take for granted.
Totally agree. All right, we got, let's see. Oh, Duran, what up, Duran? You know you was on here. TC, I got TC up on the stage. Tell us where you calling from and what you want to add to the combo.
Absolutely appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally. I see my brother Duran on the stage.
What up, though?
What up, though? I just got back from Detroit. I was at the Grand Prix this weekend, hanging out with James Norman and the Transparent Collective. And listen, I could not be more ecstatic, Nick, that you guys are talking about this, because this is literally what I've been building for the last 3 years. So I'm headed right now into New York for New York Tech Week. I'll be here all week. And I think what you guys are talking about is tangentially related to what I've been building, which is building what we refer to as a group experiences economy, where we incentivize local advisors, local influencers, people that are in the market to monetize off of the relationships they have with certain of their favorite restaurants, favorite outings, excursions, attractions, and simply refer those to their network or refer those to their audience, and they can earn money by doing it. So I don't want to kind of, if I'm out of order, let me know, but I want to tell you a little bit about how we're doing it and how people can make money through our platform that we've built custom for the group experiences economy. So Nick, you let me know if that's okay. Okay, appreciate it. I want to be in order, bro.
Keep it brief though, because I definitely want to get some other people on stage, but go ahead.
Absolutely. So I'll be quick. Really, the way it works is very simple. So I'll Go is my company. We started off with weddings, working with event planners that refer their venues that they're working with and their vendors that they're working with to their customers. And when their customers book those vendors through our platform, they earn a percentage. So we do a revenue split. typically, you guys wouldn't know this if you were like laypersons, but typically a lot of venues and a lot of attractions use incentive programs with people to get more people into their spaces. Restaurants sometimes have a loyalty program. Venues, attractions typically have some sort of referral program, but we have an affiliate program where when you sign up on the Algo platform, you'll get a custom link. And you can embed that link into your marketing. You can embed that link into your website. You can embed that link into your posts. And for local influencers that are frequenting these locations, they bring that link onto their posts. People click that link. If they book, it doesn't matter what it is. If they book the restaurant for a group, or they book the restaurant for a weekend, or a hotel for a weekend, what have you, they earn 7%. I think that's my time. All right, they earn 7% on that booking. There's no cap to it. There's no minimum to it. It could be a $30 booking. It could be a $30,000 booking. They earn 7%. So if people are interested in that, I put the link in the chat. We're signing up local influencers right now, and what we refer to as local experience entrepreneurs. Would love to have you guys.
That's fire.
Thanks, Nick.
That's fire as hell.
And I contributed to your hearts, so I appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man. I really do.
and TC, you need to call them localpreneurs.
Yo,
Go ahead and
that's
put
fire.
those through. Yeah, that's pretty good. And hit me up, TC, this week.
Atlanta is the home of the referral game. Atlanta is the home of calling somebody like, yo, you know somebody over there, I got to do this event. I got to get in there. And if somebody was getting 7% of every connection, damn near of every connection that was being made in Atlanta, we have a lot of people that's closer to $1 million.
1,000%. No, that's
work.
He ain't wrong.
Nick, I could do this in 60 seconds.
Go for it.
The local, I agree with the influencer thing that Isaac was saying earlier. I think the sister was talking about it, and yeah, TC, that's kind of ironic. Your product feeds right into the title. That was smooth. But the thing is, the Marathon Burger, they opened their second location yesterday on Venice Beach. Which anybody that spent any time in LA to understand LA, I've been here almost 11 years now, so I'm getting close to just like this literally being my second home. The cities are not the same. So Venice Beach is completely different than Melrose, where they opened their first location. So it required not just the locals coming there to Venice Beach, but there's an experience and a texture of people that live in Venice Beach. So although all those people from Slauson, Nipsey Hussle's neighborhood, and a few other people from other neighborhoods as well came over to Venice, you will find that some of those individuals feel a bit like Venice is a new city to them. Because in LA, people stay in their neighborhoods. You guys know why. So it's not just necessarily the locals, but it's also understanding the texture of the particular sections in the city and how to market those sections. Because marketing downtown Los Angeles is different from West Hollywood, is different from Bel Air, where Beyonce and Jay-Z and them live, is different from Beverly Hills, Nick, where you came, where my wife and I live, to our spot. So a mixture of the influencers that's local to the city, but also ensuring that you always keep the city and its areas bigger than a person. So the city has to become an ideology. And I saw that they did a great job with Marathon Burger too. It did not feel like anything that came from the 60 neighborhood. It didn't even feel like the Marathon Burger one, because it's in Venice, and Venice has a totally different texture of people. So I just wanted to add that in. I don't have anything about Detroit at the moment. I love my city, but I just wanted to give an LA reference. I'm going on mute.
No, I love it. We got Talk
I was
Black
gonna say,
on stage.
and I'm just gonna add, like, those locations are intentional too. Like, we saw what happened when
That's correct.
he tried to, just build in his neighborhood. I had been working with him since 2015, so there's a lot of new
I didn't
plans, a
even see
lot
you
of
on
new
stage,
things.
Ash. You know exactly what I'm talking about, the feel of LA, the different
Yeah,
spots.
for sure. Yeah. But it's intentional, and it's like even the growth, like we're talking about, even like expanding into like retail and other things. It's just price points to like certain things, and like I feel like they should have changed that menu up a little bit more. It's not just so high end and Wagyu only, but there's a lot of things with that list up though.
There it is. All right, we got Talk Black on stage. Talk Black, tell us where you calling from, and tell us what
Good
you want to add to the
morning.
combo.
Yes, good morning. I'm Benita from just trying to get influences to us. so local people can make money, not just influencers. I know we are concentrating on influencers, but influencers are social capital. So I think that whatever they do, local people should be able to benefit as well, because that's our vacuum in Atlanta right now. It's a wealth gap among Black people, period. But there has to be an inclusive way for Black people, and I'm talking Black specific because of the wealth gap, to make money with influencers impact as well. So and I don't know if I'm off target, but we got this program at, it's 440 400 right there, and it deals with all those layers of everybody getting money so that we can pull up a community, not just a group of people. So when we market, I think we need to market or think or strategically get together. Those of us who have all these various programs that can help influencers, we need to get together and strategically think how that can impact the community itself, or community members, some community members be included in that itself.
I love it. Thank you for that. And throw you some hearts as well. Let's see. We got what was
Nick, we
that?
got to do a room called the marketing of marketing, because I know a lot of our people, we want to help each other, but we forget behind that help, there's always a competitor ready to eat your food. Jim Rohn said there's the opportunity and there's a threat to the opportunity. Always be ready for both. So we can get together and be incredible. But what about the white guy down the street that wants to have their own burger joint? It's never just linear where we can help each other and smile and do backwards flips. There is always a threat to the opportunity. So I think the marketing of marketing will help people understand that. I'm going on mute.
I ain't mad at that. IFX Media. Tell us where you
LFX
calling
Media.
from and what you IFX Media. LFX, man. I'm sorry.
No
Tell us
problem.
where you calling from or what you call.
I'm calling from Houston, but originally off the lake, Erie, Pennsylvania. So to my Detroit guys, Hundo, what up, though?
No, what up, though?
Yes, sir. I'm late to the party. I think me and Duran, we've been in some rooms, discussing things. But I was wondering, if anyone is tied in with in Atlanta, whatever city you're in, the Office of Business Opportunities for strategic local municipality contracts, or even worldwide contracts through SamGov, any of that type of situation going on. Because I've been working
This
since
stage don't smell like Atlanta to you? I don't even belong up here.
no, I just hopped in here. Hey, Simpset, what's going on with y'all? Nah, I was just saying to whoever, the stage. I mean, it's more than about the stage, Duran. You got a whole bunch of people down in the
Oh, yeah, I was just joking around.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, anyone on the stage tied in with sam.gov or local municipalities, because Duran, you spoke of or I don't know if it was you, Duran, someone with the references and getting 6 to 10% on
That was TC.
TC.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was brother
TC.
TC.
Yeah.
Okay, TC, because the capabilities of getting 25% on subcontracting and things like that, that's what I'm working on.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'll speak for me. I do not. I don't have those contacts. I know Dean, and it's funny, Dean just I don't know where he went, maybe he took a call or something, but I think Dean does. So he might be someone that we all should lean on in terms of kind of building those relationships as well, because all of us kind of have our interest, our different pocket of business and interest, level in certain things. So he might definitely be the one, but I definitely appreciate that, man. I agree with you totally.
For sure.
Nick, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
I'll go for it.
So we have this I'm so Atlanta trend going around. Do you feel like that could have been a moment that could have been used to market locally when something
There's
like
still
that
time.
surfaces?
It's just
Well,
getting started. There's still time for everything.
I do. I think it is, but I think it also goes back to I think it was Jeff who said it. Like, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, and this might sound like these kids and back in my day type of thing, but I want to throw this out there, right? Like my kids are born and raised here in Atlanta as well. Ty and Kendall, they were kind of essentially raised in Gwinnett County, and Milana was mostly Cherokee County until fairly recently, and then Orion, she's a DeKalb County kid. She's really an East Side kid for most of her life. But like, I don't see the kids having that same civic city pride like how we are. And I've explained my Atlanta story besides being born and raised here. Just it's just something that when we were coming up, and I've seen this in like everybody knows like New Yorkers are like famous for being like they are the most rabid representatives of their city when they go other places. New York think they in the house everywhere. But I see that from people from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? I see it from people from LA, depending on what. And it's mainly a black thing. I never hear white people being like, yeah, I'm from the west side of whatever the fuck. But I'm sure they have their own way of representing where they're from. I don't see it as much in the kids per se. Do y'all notice that the kids are not as like regional or city focused? Is that like a function of the internet and social media that they're just not like, I'm from so and so, or like,
You know
what do
what's
y'all
scary?
think when it comes to that?
The crazy thing, Nick, I've been on tour for the last 2 weeks, and every city right now, all I hear is I'm so ATL, and I see these little kids doing these dances because here it goes back to the song and then influencers. Like they just move things right now, and it's so weird. It's like they're embracing things that half of them probably don't even know what they're talking about. But that's a good point to like kind of maybe go back and start putting these songs and marketing these songs to try to draw people into these experiences.
Atlanta is
But
the new New York and LA to the country. You know that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, but that's kind of the problem, right? Like I remember when I was growing up,
I want to see if
like you
somebody disagree.
no, but listen, but just from the sound of the music, even in the music, right? When we used to talk about rap, right? 8 Ball and MJG made it known they were from Orange Mound.
Yeah.
They were from Memphis, Tennessee. Snoop Dogg made it known I'm from Long Beach. I'm from Cal. Like that was a thing. Like everybody kind of made sure they inserted I'm from fill in the blank. Like if they was from Cleveland, Bone Thugs and Harmony in Cleveland, Twister in Chicago. Like all these rappers that were like, I want to let you know that I'm from this street in this city, from this side of the town. And like I really don't hear that as much. And to Isaac's point, and even to Ski's point, it seems like everybody sounds like they're from Atlanta, except for right now, LA is having definitely a moment because of Kendrick.
but
But how do you market local
because you
pride,
have to
local?
angle that differently. You have to angle it differently. I think it's a lot like how we look at how you used to hear your grandmother talk about praying, but current grandmothers ain't talking about that, right? If you're a local, are you talking about talking to your kids about why you were proud to be from there? And then if I look at something like I'm So ATL, I wouldn't run it in the ground doing the dance, but I would literally go get the people. I would get someone like you, Nick, and the post would really be I'm So ATL. Let me show y'all where I grew up. Let me show y'all the school I went to. Let me show you why I take pride in East Atlanta or whatever. So it's using the trend, but tying it back to the root of your cause and what you're trying to do.
But I think what your initial point was, and I'm asking this because I don't know, but like for your girls' example, like do they feel like Atlanta girls because Atlanta children because like you said they're raised in Gwinnett and in Cherokee County. They weren't raised in Atlanta. They were raised in Atlanta Metro, but they're not raised in the city like you were raised in the city. You were from the East Side, right? So does that add any factors to it that they're raised kind of like outside the Atlanta, outskirts?
Well, I'll say this. Kendall, who just went off to Howard, I think that's when she kind of discovered her whole like Atlanta-ness because she was out of town. So the people that were from Atlanta, they all kind of clicked up and they started to hang together because they were in DC. You know what I'm saying? But like that's when she was like, okay, I'm from Atlanta. These things are familiar to me. We have these shared memories and these shared landmarks that we all are aware of because we're from Atlanta, right? So she started to kind of find her like local tribe per se. But when they're here, and even my oldest daughter, because my oldest daughter didn't go to college, and Milana, she's a little. I mean, I can't really speak on Milana too tough. She's a little different, but I feel like I don't own a hat that's not an Atlanta Braves hat or an Atlanta Hawks hat or a Falcons hat. I don't wear stuff that say Los Angeles on it. I don't wear things that say New York on it. It's so ingrained in me to never ever think about wearing a Yankees hat. That was just, I don't care if it matched my outfit perfectly. I'm never fucking wearing it. Like I just don't do that. And it's a thing where I think maybe when things were a little bit more regional or decentralized, necessarily when pre-internet, pre-social media, maybe you found that person that's like, I'm from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, like, and he cared about being that. Oh, I'm from Boston, I'm from wherever. But it don't seem like there's that same thing nowadays. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm just being micro. I'm looking at it from a micro level because of them looking at my kids. But I mean, I just want to know what you guys think about that.
You're dealing with well, I think you're dealing with also the kind of convergence of the merging of all cultures into one culture nationally. Like I think that really started. It kind of started when YouTube came around. I said this all the time. Like, even though as popular as Atlanta is, I think Atlanta benefited enormously from YouTube being popular at the same time that Atlanta music was popular. So if you're anywhere on the planet and you want to know what American rap music was like, you were really tuned into Atlanta rap music. And so your perception of what that was happened to be Soldier Boy and Jeezy and Tip and Luda and Lil Jon and all these people and the Yin Yang Twins and all this stuff. And so that culture spread nationally and then it spread globally. And so I think it's hard for other cities to kind of stand out in that way because I feel like everybody is in some way, shape, or form like now has a little bit of Atlanta in them nationally, in the music and the culture and the things that they say and the words and a lot of the slang. And I think that just has a lot to do with how fast culture travels. It used to not travel. It was definitely, isolated. So if you were from St. Louis, you talk different, you dress different. You know what I'm saying? Same for Philly, New York, Atlanta, New Orleans. And I think all that has changed. And so I don't locally marketing your city to the locals. You really got to stand on, what made your city unique and different. And I think it's harder to do so now because everybody's attention is drawn so much to social media. And that's kind of like a mixture of all cultures into one. And you really can't separate it out.
But I
Where I
think
think
that's the
Atlanta,
magic. That's the opportunity. That's what we're talking about. That's the opportunity we have to give cities back their power for their people. I mean, you're
That's
always
gonna be
going
hard.
to
That's
have
hard
mass
though. That's
marketing.
What cities do y'all
yeah,
feel is doing
But
the best
but
job at marketing their cities?
I don't think
Atlanta.
it's ever.
okay, well, I've said this before, and I think Las Vegas does an amazing job of selling. Their tagline and everything around the culture of Las Vegas. I think they do an amazing job at it. I think Atlanta is okay, but I think that's a lot. That's a lot of locals doing what they can. I think Atlanta influences everything is a great slogan, but I'm biased, of course. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think Vegas does a great job of selling Vegas. But I don't know that I don't know what necessarily local Vegas culture is outside of that damn strip.
Yeah, that's just
Um,
the strip. I got a
Yeah.
place there. I'm in Vegas literally 4 times a month. That's the strip, Nick. But what Isaac was saying, Nick, I think that's probably the most important point on the room. Atlanta probably doesn't seem like it's Atlanta to the locals because Atlanta is Black America now. With the reason why Atlanta never lost the music, I was having this conversation like 15 years ago with some radio station guys. They were like, "Man, what do you think happened?" I was like, "It's the closest thing to blues. It's never going away." I said, and that's core to black music. Hip hop came from blues. So when you think about the BPM, I gave them like a DJ analysis, Nick. I was like, when you think about the BPM and the way these guys they turn their voices into instruments. So I don't think it's mumble rap as a musician because I'm a musician. I think I'm listening to like, damn, that's an A. Young Thug's doing the A key, A sharp inside of the beat being an A. That's incredible. I don't give a shit what he's saying. It sounds good. I said that's the closest thing to the black experience as far as musically what music came from. All music came from blues. Country, you name it, all of it. Black people made all music, all genres. So it's never going away. I don't think anyone's ever going to take the music back because once down south really pushed through, specifically with that BPM, that 65 through 70 BPM, that was it. Because black people don't even understand why they love it so much. It's because it's core to their being. That's one. Number two, it's the representation of what black people believe is foundationally black. Like look about I see guys in Detroit with dreads in a certain capacity. I was like, that shit came from Atlanta for sure. And they okay with
Actually,
it
that shit
because
came from
although
Florida.
no, I would argue even the Florida cats got it
Golden
from
Dri-
Atlanta. They got they got the different type of dreads. The third, they got the dreads that don't lock. They got
The
the dreads that
wicks.
look like the old school high tip fades. Yeah, but so if a guy is in Detroit, although he may have a local experience, we talk a certain way. We got a certain swag to the way we say things. They can't help but be connected to Atlanta. It's because that's what makes them feel like they're black, not necessarily Detroit. Detroit probably makes them feel like they're at home. Atlanta makes them feel like they're black. So I think Atlanta is bigger than the city, and that's probably the thing that they need to focus on. Atlanta is black. Now, it'd be very difficult for them to push that one. Atlanta is black. If I was in the marketing room, you guys know I would say, yeah, that's it. That's the campaign. AtlantaIsBlack.com. Get that one. Boom. Push it all around. Make all the white people mad. But that's what I think about when I think about Atlanta. I'm a fast city guy, so it would be hard for me to live there because I like to be in the mix of the biggest shit. But I'm not oblivious to the fact that when I think of Atlanta, I think Black American. I think that's black. It's some down south cities that's cool. Houston got love for it, but Atlanta represents everything, even if you don't know it consciously, if it's subconscious, what a black person feel like represents them. So this is why Atlanta never went away over the last 20 years, because it isn't going anywhere. Short of you doing a new genre that's different to our ear, Atlanta is not going to lose that feel and that influence, because behind just the word Atlanta, that's what black people really connect with, that represents them in this country. I'm going on mute.
So hold on. I see Joyce. Joyce, I'm finna get you up here on this stage before we close out, because you had your hands up for a while. So if you can, come on up here. We've talked about that on the call before. I don't think any city, even Atlanta, will ever fully lean into the blackness of a city from a marketing standpoint, mainly because I feel like it separates, it alienates. At least that's what's going to be said in the marketing meeting about how to play that. But I agree. I think, and even to use my example earlier, I think Vegas leans into like the whole what happens here stays here. I've seen Chicago lean into the mobster museum and like come here and see where Al Capone shot up all these people.
I think Memphis
like
is trying.
Atlanta's never gonna just lean into like, hey, so BMF had this thing here. Just like it's Outkast feels safe. We'll do something for Stank On You. We'll do something with Outkast, but like I just don't think we ever really truly lean into anything that's like overly black. I don't even know if that's the right word.
You saying Atlanta?
Yeah, Atlanta's not gonna do that.
Oh, Nick, come on now. Well, I mean, we have the enormous benefit of the civil rights movement.
I mean, but we still like, pushing the civil rights movement, and to be honest, like more people have been to the Trap Museum than probably MLK.
No,
but more people have been to Magic City than they've been to the MLK Museum.
But what I'm saying is historically, though, if you're going to link blackness, right, back to people from the past, you're only going to link you're primarily going to link it back to Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Like those are the two figures that you're going to link what being black in America was like, and
ironically, an Atlanta guy and a Detroit guy.
Right, exactly. And so you're gonna link it back to those two individuals. But what I think what helped with Atlanta is that transition from civil rights to politics, and then again those politics made way for commerce that made black people rich. So now the perception of black people in other places were like not only except for maybe PG County, right? Shout out to PG County because they the richest. You know what I'm saying? But black wealth is always is connected to Atlanta. So if you think of where rich black people live, I think you probably think maybe PG County, maybe Baldwin Hills, and then the whole Atlanta. Like, okay, everybody got money in the A. So
it's a Baldwin Hills in Atlanta?
No, I'm talking about California.
Oh, you just said California. Okay,
I'm just saying, like, if people that say the places where, like Bel Air, Baldwin Hills, and then PG County, and that, and I don't know where rich black people live in New York City. I mean, I guess Jeff could tell us is there a rich black enclave in New York?
Is it Harlem? Would it be Harlem?
Years and years ago was Harlem, and now with the kind of rich black middle class really actually doesn't live in the city anymore. Everybody lives in New Jersey. You know, they
In
kind
New
of
Jersey, I knew he was about to say
to
that.
Jersey.
Like, when Chris Rock and Mary J. Blige, do they live in Jersey or Long Island? They live in Jersey?
Jersey.
Okay, so
Tracy
Jersey. All right.
Morgan, Chris Rock,
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy used to live there, like right across the bridge in the Alpine area. And years ago was Queens, was St. Albans, where that's where like Ella Fitzgerald and Count Basie and a lot of them live. But that's not. Yeah, it's New Jersey now. That's our black enclave.
Hey, yo, quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. Do y'all remember the So Def billboard when you were coming from the airport into the city?
Yeah, it's back.
It's back?
Yeah, JD literally just put it
Jay
back. Maybe
just put it back like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's back.
It's back.
Or the BMF billboard.
Or the BMF joint.
The BMF joint was heavy.
It gave
Like,
people a sense of pride, even if you wasn't from here. Like that was like a landmark. If you was picking somebody up from the airport, bringing them to the crib, you would show them that. Like, yeah, this city got that right there. Like that was like that was a staple for the city. Like I'm glad he brought it back.
Damn, my brother been in Atlanta 15 years. I just thought about it.
Wow.
Yeah, he talked like an Atlanta guy now. I don't even recognize him. He's Atlanta.
Hey, so look, it's 11:02. We're gonna put a period on the conversation. I appreciate everybody jumping on. We do this call every single Monday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that this was a good conversation, man. I really appreciate all of y'all. Like and shouts out to Duran. Like I love when people get on. Like anytime I hear Detroit people say "What up, though," it gives me that like, see, like people is different. Like just the way of greeting is like, yeah, like that's Detroit say this, LA say this, Houston say this. You know, like the cars look different, the people look different, the people talk different, they dress different. I loved it when you could kind of see the
culture and people. Like they big on Detroit is really big on that "What up, though." So Lauren, our product owner, she's from Detroit, and we had a guy in the office that used to work at Meta. His name is Alvin Bowles, and he's from Detroit. And they were like, "What up, though? What up, though?" And they're like, "That's their culture." I love that.
Yeah, it's like
I love that.
too.
Like I love
it's
to
like
just hear that because it's like Atlanta people don't say that. Like I miss when Atlanta people say "shawty" all the time. We need to bring back "shawty." Bring back "shawty." That's my campaign for the day. Bring back
"shawty."
Shawty. I miss that, man. But yeah, like this is cool. I love to hear these reading conversations, and I think that we came up with some pretty good ideas. Thank you, Alita, for jumping on today because you brought some amazing insight today into the call. Like, and I think that all of us, depending, no matter what city you're from, I think there's some cool ways that kind of integrate that because I think that these tourist attractions in these cities that are kind of overlooking the people who live there every day in some form or fashion, like even if you like, the example I used earlier for the 404 day, like even if you didn't want to make it free, you could have just let everybody in the aquarium for $4.04 or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have been something as simple as, if you're a native of this city, come to this thing today. We're doing a big thing. We're calling it New York Day, Chicago Day, Miami Day, whatever. Like let's make it a thing. And I think cities they're so busy attracting tourists that they forget about the people who live there every day. And I think that's a missed opportunity. So shouts out to you guys and all the smart stuff that you guys said today. I will see you guys next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. And y'all have a good week, man. Love and respect.
Appreciate
Bring
it.
back Stewart Avenue and Bankhead.
Bring back Stewart Avenue. Later.
And Ashby.
All right. There you have it. Another Monday morning art marketing. They back, y'all. Tune in again. It'll be 10 a.m. Eastern. Another Monday. Today's topic, pretty dope. Let me ask you guys, do you think Fanbase is marketing the locals? What do you think? Drop it in the chat. There were some people that I know in Atlanta that never heard of Fanbase. So do you think Fanbase is marketing Fanbase in Atlanta? What do you think? Drop it in the chat. See you later. Memoir signing out. Au revoir, mes amis.